Hey everyone, HavocsKeeper here, coming to you with a new tank review. Today we're going to do the Zizka Skoda 40T. It's the first Czechoslovakian tank available on console. It's a premium tank, and it's a tier 6. It's basically the Skoda T40, which will be released, I'm sure, later in the tech tree, but this is the hero version, so you get this paint job, I guess you could say. It's decorated much like it looks kind of like a Liberté, if you ask me, just the color pattern. But it's the Tier 6 Czechoslovakian tank, the first and only one available right now on consoles. So if you want to train up the Czechoslovakian crew for the incoming Czechoslovakian tanks, then now would be a good time to get it. The package is not too bad. It's 7,400 or 7,400 gold for the Skoda 40T, plus you get a whole bunch of XP ops, and you also get the Zizka Skoda T40 op for 30,000 silver and a day of premium. It's not much. It's a tier 6 tank, so but it's the only package that you can purchase this now. It's kind of an early release package, so you do get, so it doesn't come with any equipment, but it does come with some premium ammunition. I think like 16 heat shells. Unfortunately, with this review, I only got, I think, one video that I saved, and I actually was the very first time I took it out. I haven't put out any more. I haven't saved any other videos. Just kind of want to get this review out right away because I feel like everybody's going to be interested in this tank since it just came out last night. And I'm one of the few people that purchased it right away, so I've got to see it, and I want to relay the information to you guys. I've done some comparison between the tank values and tried to figure out after running it for like 10 battles what exactly it is. What it is a T3488, that Russian premium tier 6 medium with a little bit of trade going on. The T3488 I feel like has 90, with the 90 millimeters of turret armor, gives it a little bit of an armor value. And if you get hulled down with it, you can bounce some shots, especially if you're not facing opponents of higher tier with really high pen guns. This tank, on the other hand, has no armor value, really, to speak of whatsoever. I don't think I've ever bounced a shot with it. As you can see, everything's blue and green, and I assure you the green is not enough to do anything. I think it's like 65 in the front turret face, which is extremely flat, and that bar is flat. So, as we all know, with flat armor, I mean, that it's just going through. So, your playstyle is going to have to be that of a tank that has no armor whatsoever. And I can also tell you, with my limited experience, that if you get shot in the hull, it's going to pretty much damage your ammo rack every time. So, don't go into any engagement thinking, well, I'm full health, and he's got little health, and if I just play my cards right, I should be able to out DPM him or something like that. Okay, well, you might want to take into account the fact that once he shoots you in the hull, you're going to be ammo rack. And if you don't have a repair kit, that could be your death. So, yeah, component damage is real. There is no armor, so the playstyle will have to be that of a tank with no armor, which automatically, I have to say, makes it a tank for experienced players. If you're not an experienced player, you're going to have a really hard time with this tank. I've already made some very beginner mistakes with it, and that comes from the fact that it has 6 degrees of gun depression, which is kind of a bad combination to have only 6 degrees of gun depression and have no turret armor, no armor to speak of really on the tank. Normally, tanks like a CDC or a Leopard that have no armor whatsoever, they usually have gun depression, so you can at least hide behind a ridge, and you can kind of peek that ridge, and that makes the ridge your protection, your armor. This tank does not have that. I looked at the T3488. The T3488 and the T3485 have 7 degrees of gun depression, and they have turret armor a little bit. So, as far as defensive maneuvers go with this tank, you're going to have to be very careful on the defensive strategies. Because, like I said, no armor, no gun depression. So you're going to have to do a lot of timing and a lot of distance work. You don't only want to be up close and personal at all in this tank. As I said, the ammo rack damage is real. So you definitely don't want to be in close encounter engagements. This is all like medium to long range engagements, which works well considering the fact that compared to the T-34-88, this is a better gun. It is slightly more accurate at .37. The T-34-88 is .38. The aim time is the same. The T-34-88 has actually a better rate of fire, but this tank has a lot more penetration. One of the biggest problems with the T-34-88 is that its APCR rounds are like 171 or 170 millimeters penetration. This one's 200. But you do make a trade because that one fires APCR and this one fires heat. And I think we all know by now that APCR is the superior premium round. But it's only 171 millimeters penetration for the T-34-88, and that can be a problem at times. So this 200 millimeters and 145 with the AP is a welcomed change compared to the T-34-88. The gun is better with pen, slightly more accurate, and probably maybe dispersion values too. I'm not quite sure on that, but like I said, the strategy is definitely more of stay away from your opponents and hit them from a distance, which also works well for the fact that it has a concealment value of 48, and it has decent mobility. What I've come up with on the mobility is because I drove it and I said it's kind of fast, but it's not like, blow your face off fast. And the power to weight ratio, actually the T-34-88 has a better power to weight ratio and a better top speed at 54 versus this 50. But I have come up with the fact that the ground resistance on this tank are really low, actually. So it all kind of evens out. It's about the same speed as the T-34-88. Like I said, you kind of traded a little bit better gun, and unfortunately you traded turret armor there. So definitely a playstyle that would be a little bit more sneaky and from a distance. As I said, the 6 degrees of gun depression, I know it's only one more degree, but tanks with that kind of gun depression usually have armor, so the fact that this one doesn't means you really got to be careful the situations that you come out in, because when you don't have any gun depression, you have to expose a lot more tanks sometimes to make a shot. And in this tank, that's really dangerous. I've already gotten wrecked doing it a couple times where I thought, oh, just a little bit more. If I just go over this ridge just a little bit further, I can get my gun barrel down enough to shoot that tank over there that he doesn't really see me. Well, he saw me, and I came all the way over the ridge and got hit, set on fire, everything. I mean, it was all over in one shot. And that was me really saying, okay, I have to be more disciplined. And that's what it comes down to with these kind of tanks. You're going to have to be much more disciplined. If you can't make the shot, you have to decide, is it really a shot that you can go over the ridge and expose your entire tank and get away with? Because, as I said, the component damage with this tank is real. So taking a hit from a big tank with a lot of damage or whatever could be the last hit you take. Alright, real quick equipment loadout. There's no vertical stabilizer, so I went rammer, optics, and vents. It has 370 meters of view range, which is pretty good for a tier 6. It's definitely amongst the tops at tier 6. So you're good with view range. As I said, the concealment value is 48. So you're going to be able to play more of a snipery, dark medium. And you do have some speed to you. So that's definitely the playstyle I'm going to go with. And so I said rammer, optics, vents. I mean, I guess if you really want the gun better, you could, instead of vents, you could go with gun lane drive. I rarely make that choice just because I feel like the vents are going to improve the tank overall. I'm running a premium consumable. I have it lit on fire already, I think twice. It's got a 15% chance of fire, which is actually higher than the T-34-88, who has 12. So at your own risk. But here's the problem: it's the first Czechoslovakian tank in the game on console, and I have no crew. So this tank, I'm sure it gets better with a well-trained crew, like all tanks do. Actually, I think that's kind of fundamental for this tank. But unfortunately, I don't have a well-trained crew. I'm only 45% on snapshot, which is what I elected to go with. Until I get Sixth Sense, every game is going to be difficult with this tank. This is one of those tanks where I definitely can't wait to get Sixth Sense. It's the first thing I want to get. And then after that, I might go right into Mentor because I want to really get some crew skills on this tank as soon as possible. We only have probably a week or two before Czechoslovakian tanks are coming out. So right now it's a race to put as many crew skills together as you can before you go down the TVP line. So, yeah, my ammo loadout, as I said, I went with a premium consumable. I'm doing small first aid, small repair kit. I have 20 heat shells on there. This tank carries more than enough shells total. There's no way you're shooting 55 AP. So when I load out the premium ammo, it's in the thoughts of, okay, what if I'm in a tier 8 game and I'm pretty much shooting almost exclusively premium because of the tanks that I'm up against, or the tanks that are left in the game. I really hate in tier 8 games when you run out of premium and you basically know that there's no way you're going to pen anything with your AP shells unless you're standing directly behind them. And in this tank, standing behind tanks is pretty much not going to happen because you don't have close combat abilities. So if I'm shooting tier 8 tanks from a distance, I don't really want to run out of premium shells. With that being said, you'd be smart to keep an inventory that you can manage. So I went with 20. I don't know. A couple HE shells. Already found out them to be garbage, like I've always thought they were. When you have penetration of 33 to 55, they're completely risky shells to fire. Even at artillery, it blows my mind. What are these shells for? I'm not really sure. When you fire them at artillery, hoping to one-shot artillery or do a high damage roll, and you get like next to nothing, and that's artillery. So I guess artillery is buffed armor. I'm not sure, but the HE shells are very specific uses. And at tier 6, when you're not going to get up against waffle turrets or the most you'll see from the German light tank destroyer line that everyone loves to shoot HE at is the rim. And even with 33 to 55, I don't know if you would reliably pen a Borsig. So if you want to go 0 HE, go ahead. But like I said, I mean, it makes total sense, except for the fact that you're carrying so many shells, you might as well carry a little bit of everything just so you have that option. So, all right, that's there you go with consumables, equipment. I told you about the tank and its play style. It's a pretty good gun. I mean, it's a good mobile turret, but other than that, you're gonna have to be very careful. All right, so that's the review. I'm gonna go into my very first game in the tank. Okay, here we go into a first gameplay clip. Got really lucky here with the first map being Redshire. Also, you're going to see quite a good matchup. There's only 3 tier 6 tanks on each side, so overwhelmingly top tier, and a good medium map. I really like Redshire. It's one of my favorite maps in the game. It's probably one of my top 2 favorites, up there with Proco or Boca. It lends itself to TD play, light tank play, and medium play. I don't think it's a very good heavy tank map. Artillery obviously gets in on it too, so I think this is a map for everybody if you ask me, but I'm sure heavy tanks don't appreciate it too much. The problem I'm going to have with this map is I don't have Sixth Sense. This is my first game in the tank, and it's going to be very difficult to play the medium sniper role when I don't know if I'm detected, or I don't know if I've been lit. So detected, you get that detected meter, but there's a lot of controversy as to how you know when that's working or when you get that.
Enemy exposed. Releasing target.
So I went to play this hill here. I knocked over some trees, trying to give myself some extra camouflage. Unfortunately, the only way I'm going to find out if I'm lit is probably by being shot at. Get a little bit of a blind fire between 2 houses there. So that's a good start for the gun right there. The argument with detected is sometimes that it only goes off if you're looking at spotted targets that have already been spotted and they're looking at you. So I know you have to be looking at them and they have to be looking at you. I blind fire in this M6. I'm going to take one more shot at him. There's a little gap between the houses there. The first shot I think went into the house just a little bit low, so I gave it another shot and got lucky and hit him dark. Got a pretty good little bush network going on here in front of me, so I'm feeling like I might actually be able to shoot here undetected for a little while. M6 does a brake check on me, but unfortunately he's got a long way to go to safety. He's not going to make it. There's a little break in the houses there again.
Unlocking target. Dropping
I don't know where that shell went. But immediately after firing, I get the detected symbol. That's a British Bulldog. I've been running into them, especially when you play this tier now. Definitely not a tank to tangle with. It's kind of like a super Churchill. And they have incredible rate of fire. And their armor, I'll have to look into where to shoot them because other than side turret, I've only been penning them side turret, and I've been bouncing like crazy off their front plates. So.
Ready to fire on target.
Yep, and you're gonna see me try and mess with him again. And I take 2 shots now, so he's got 3 shots into me. So basically, don't mess with British Bulldogs.
They've spotted us. Locked on.
So now it's pretty clear that I'm detected. I'm gonna kind of do a little circle in case artillery's thinking about shooting at me. Should be cleared up now, so I'm gonna come back over here and try and work some of the bush. I'm definitely not gonna tangle with the British Bulldog if I can help it, because he has incredible rate of fire. I'm low health, and I probably wouldn't pen him at this point anyway. Now the game has really gone into the other team's favor. I've decided to pull back to this, in my opinion, last resort hill. I know some players start off at this hill, but I think this hill is only viable if your team is getting overrun, because you're only going to be shooting at targets that are well into your spawn area.
Looks like that one went right through.
Decided to stop and take a couple shots at this tank. If I go any further, he's probably on my render range. I get lucky and 2 shots into him. So yeah, from this hill back here, I'm just trying to use my view range and get shots at targets before they can shoot back. I guess I'm using this hill. I don't really have much gun depression, so there's not much peeking going on. But there's a tank on my left. He's on the 1-2 line. I don't care to go there. I know most of their tanks are coming from the east of the map. And here's one right now, the Churchill. Too bad that he moves right as I fire that. Clearly I'm lit by the and I'm detected, so he's I'm gonna have to back down here. I'm trying to get some shots over on the 3-4 line. I would like to try and keep the other tank on my team alive. It's our only chance to either win or put up a good fight. Yeah, 2 tanks is better than 1. I mean, for all I know, he's a god-awful player, but now the Churchill's made himself an available target, and the other tank on my team has just died, so that dream is over. Now we're all alone, and honestly, at this point, looking at the tank count or whatever, clearly I'm lit. As you can see, many shells, and here's a good one right here coming. Yeah, that was close. So, everyone knows where I am, and I'm just trying to get another shot of damage in here, honestly. T67, not the target I'm probably most excited to see, just because he spits out damage regularly. Get a lucky shot there on the T34 right before artillery hits me. So, not a great game. For some reason, I just kept it because I wanted to show my first game in the tank. I got pretty lucky, like I said, to get Red Shire in a medium tank. Once I have 6th Sense, I'm gonna have much better games. I know that. But so far, so good. It's a good gun. That's about all I got right now. Thanks for watching.